Stop for a moment and truly observe without fear. Feel the subtle stir inside you, the awareness that some memories are lingering, not erased, not muddled, not lost, but somehow distant, like echoes of a past self who once defined who you were. Now those memories seem like old stories, familiar yet strangely neutral. You still remember them, yet the weight has lifted. The pain, the urgency, the tightness that once accompanied them, it's gone. And the strangest part of all music is that it no longer worries you. Instead, it liberates you. What if I told you that you are not forgetting? What if I revealed that you are undergoing a dimensional transformation? Because when consciousness begins to rise beyond the third dimension, memory stops being a prison and starts becoming a doorway to freedom. This, my friend, is a symptom almost no one explains. How many times today have you entered a room only to find your purpose vanished from your mind? How many times have you started a sentence and midway lost the thread, staring into the void as the words dissolve? If this has happened more than 3 times today, let me be clear. It is not a sign of attention deficit. It is not Alzheimer's. What you are experiencing is the 5th dimension gently, and sometimes violently, rearranging your mental database, and no one prepared you for this. Have you ever walked into a room and completely forgotten why you went there? Lost the thread of your conversation mid-sentence, feeling the emptiness of a vanished thought? Paused in silent reflection, wondering if something was deeply wrong with you, if you needed medical help? If your answer is yes, brace yourself, because what I am about to reveal will change everything. The memory lapses that frighten you may not be what they appear. In truth, nobody has ever explained this clearly. Here lies the paradox. Those who are undergoing spiritual awakening, those expanding their consciousness, those raising their frequency, the very people who are evolving most rapidly, are the ones who report the most mental lapses, short-term memory loss, constant forgetfulness, and a persistent feeling of mental fog. It is no coincidence. It is a symptom, a hallmark of ascension. Yet it remains hidden, misunderstood, and often feared unnecessarily. While you believed you were regressing, the truth is you were being reprogrammed. The 5th dimension does not knock politely. It does not hand out instruction manuals. It does not warn you about the blackout of recent memory, the false memories, the forgotten actions mid-motion, or the sensation that time itself has become a fog without beginning or end. It simply begins, and you feel it unfolding, often afraid, often alone. But from this moment forward, you will not face it alone. Each effect will be unraveled, explained, and most importantly, differentiated from medical conditions. Knowing the difference transforms everything. Comment below 5D if you have felt any of these experiences and never understood why. That freezing in a room, the blank stare, the forgotten lunch, the sudden thought that grips your chest. My memory is failing. Something is wrong with me. All of this, you will now see, is part of a larger process. Thousands of people are walking this path right now, terrified for no reason. Forgetting a sentence mid-thought, losing conversations from hours ago, waking up uncertain of the day. All these errors are in fact symptoms of ascending consciousness, of your brain reorganizing itself for higher vibration. Your mind is being updated, and during this upgrade, some functions slow down, crash, or vanish temporarily. This is not regression. This is not weakness. This is transition. Understanding this reframes every moment of short-term memory lapse as a signal of profound change rather than failure. One of the most misunderstood symptoms of ascension is forgetting, the deep, silent forgetting that occurs in the mind. It is not rare, but shame keeps it secret. People hide it, afraid to admit forgetting the name of a new acquaintance, a recent conversation, or a task from yesterday. They feel as if everyone else is advancing while they falter. But this is the trap, mistaking profound dimensional reprogramming for decline. Your memory is not weakening. It is being recalibrated to operate at a higher frequency. Imagine an old cell phone running an advanced, more powerful operating system. The hardware slows down, overheats, crashes, not because it is broken, but because it is being upgraded to handle something greater than it was designed for. This is exactly what your brain is experiencing during ascension. Mental lapses, forgetfulness, the illusion of poor memory, all signs that a higher system is being installed within you. Here is the crucial detail. This is one of the most common ascension symptoms. Yet it remains hidden because people fear appearing crazy. When someone finally speaks up, "I've been forgetting everything since I started awakening," the response is always a flood of agreement. "Me too. I thought I was alone." You are not alone. Recognizing this truth is the first step to stop resisting what deep down is a profound blessing. You experience it fully, forgetting what you ate if you had coffee, reconstructing yesterday's events with difficulty, but vividly recalling childhood memories, remarkable trips, or moments from a decade ago. Recent memory fades while old memory becomes crystalline, like a high-definition photograph. At first, it is alarming. It feels like a distortion, but it is not. At high vibration, the present becomes so vivid, so alive, that the brain stops filing the recent past in the old way. Yesterday simply does not have the weight to occupy space in your system. This is radically different from dementia, where memory loss is progressive, constant, and accompanied by functional decline. In spiritual awakening, memory blackout is selective. It preserves functionality. Ironically, it worsens when you try to force remembrance, because resistance to the present is incompatible with 5D consciousness. Music reports from awakeners are consistent. "Did I speak to so-and-so? When was that?" Every day feels new. Yesterday fades, medications, routines, small details, they vanish, but life continues. Work continues. Responsibilities continue. The difference is critical. Your functionality remains intact, and this distinction separates spiritual symptoms from medical conditions. And here's another curious twist. Along with forgetting, you may begin to remember events that seemingly never happened. Memories emerge that contradict everyone else's perception, another hallmark of the profound restructuring occurring in your consciousness. Have you ever been absolutely certain that you said something, only to have the other person insist that you never did? Or have you remembered an event in a completely different way than everyone around you recalls it? This is not ego clashing, it is not stubbornness, and it is certainly not madness. What you are experiencing is a phenomenon that awakeners encounter with startling frequency. Vivid, detailed, emotionally real memories of moments and situations. Versions of events that, on this timeline at least, did not happen exactly as you remember. It is the personal Mandela effect, unfolding not in history books, but in your daily life, your closest relationships, your inner world. What 5D consciousness begins to do is expand access to dimensions beyond the apparent reality. And this expanded access includes parallel timelines, quantum possibilities, overlapping versions of reality that exist simultaneously. Sometimes you recall a conversation from one of these parallel timelines. Sometimes subtle changes occur, and you carry the memory of a previous reality without even realizing it. To the uninitiated, it may sound like science fiction, but those who live it know the feeling is profoundly real and often profoundly unsettling. The key here is observation. If these false memories occur occasionally, your functionality remains intact, and others undergoing awakening report the same experiences. Then what you are witnessing is not a neurological problem, it is a quantum leap in memory. However, there is a line that must be respected. If these memories become constant, if they are accompanied by other psychiatric symptoms, or if they start to impair your ability to distinguish reality from illusion, then professional guidance is essential. The golden rule remains: health first, spirituality second. But when the phenomenon is occasional, when you can laugh at the discrepancy and move forward with ease, when it manifests as a fleeting, "Wow, I swear I remembered it differently," moment, breathe. Your memory is not betraying you. It is slowly learning to operate across multiple dimensions simultaneously. There is a third effect you will recognize instantly because it occurs several times a day, right in the midst of your simplest actions. You are mid-sentence and the word vanishes. It disappears as if someone deleted it directly from your mind in real time. Or you pick up your phone with clear intention, only 3 seconds later to find yourself staring at the screen, completely forgetting what you were going to do. You walk into the kitchen and stop. Why did you come here? These interruptions in the flow of action are among the most frustrating ascension symptoms because they happen publicly, repeatedly, and precisely when focus is needed. giving the unsettling impression that you are losing your mind, slowly, in front of everyone. What is actually happening is astonishing. Your consciousness is beginning to operate at multiple frequencies at once. For fractions of a second, a part of you jumps to another layer of perception. In that microscopic interval, the thread of your present action is lost. It is a dimensional lag. The connection with 3D reality momentarily drops, and when it returns, context is gone. Unlike ADHD, which is consistent, lifelong, and responds to specific treatments, this kind of forgetting is new. It begins with awakening and intensifies during periods of high energetic activity, full moons, equinoxes, solstices. Observe closely and you will notice it is not random. The good news: you can manage it practically without halting your life. Write everything down: physical notebook, notes on your phone, voice recordings, anything. External tools serve as extensions of memory while your internal memory reorganizes. And most importantly, stop resisting. Forcing memory only strengthens the block because force is the language of 3D while you are being trained to release. Laugh at oblivion when it happens. Lightness is not neglect. It is the fastest path back to flow. And speaking of release, there is a fourth effect that will surprise you because it brings relief rather than discomfort. During awakening, there is a moment that surprises everyone. You recall a trauma, a heartbreak, a story that defined you for years, and suddenly it no longer hurts. You remember the facts, the details, yet the emotional charge is gone. Watching it unfold is like observing someone else's life. You understand the suffering, yet the tightness, the ache, the weight in your chest, it is absent. Then comes the question: is this healing or am I becoming desensitized? The answer will bring liberation. 5D consciousness demonstrates practically that you are not your memories. You are the observing consciousness. At this turning point, identification with the past begins to dissolve naturally. You stop being the protagonist trapped in stories of pain and become the witness. The power of this shift is profound. It requires no effort, no years of therapy revisiting the same traumas, no complex rituals or breathing techniques. The past simply loses its grip. It becomes neutral, informational, archived without weight. This differs from dissociation, where one loses connection with reality and feels nothing. Here, the present becomes more vivid, more real, more alive. Only the past is neutralized. Those who experience this report: I remember the pain I endured in that relationship, but I cannot feel it anymore. Or, it happened to another version of me. Or, I have released attachment to my story of suffering and do not miss it. And the liberation. You stop defining yourself by what once hurt you. You cease carrying decades of emotional baggage as if it were your identity. Detachment from the past is not forgetfulness, it is freedom. As old memories lose weight, another curious phenomenon emerges. Your perception of time itself begins to blur. Have you stopped midday and wondered, what month is this? Or attempted to calculate when an important conversation occurred, only to realize you cannot? Yesterday may feel like 3 months ago, or 3 months feel like yesterday. Time no longer has defined edges. Someone seems to have crumpled your timeline into a ball. This is not distraction, stress, or disorganization. It is one of the most disconcerting ascension symptoms precisely because it challenges a function we have long taken for granted, knowing where we are in time. 5D consciousness operates outside linear time. Past and future are constructs of 3D mind, organizing experience into dense, tangible reality. When high frequency sets in, the brain stops marking time as it did before. The present becomes so complete, so immersive, that yesterday and tomorrow lose the urgency they once held. This is breathtaking in theory, yet challenging in daily practice. Appointments, deadlines, work meetings, they still demand functioning in linear time, even if your consciousness has already transcended it. Here, external organization becomes essential, not optional. Establish fixed temporal anchors, alarms with detailed instructions, visual calendars showing the whole month, morning and evening routines as milestones. Capture daily experiences through photos because you will forget them otherwise. Prepare yourself. Stop blaming yourself for losing track of the day. Linear time is, in a way, an illusion, a practical illusion, necessary only while you navigate a 3D world. And speaking of ways to record and access information, there is a sixth effect that will redefine memory for you. Have you ever left a conversation without recalling the exact words spoken, yet felt with absolute certainty how the other person made you feel? You may not remember the sequence, the words, or the details, but deep in your chest, you know whether it was love, fear, truth, or manipulation. This is not poor memory. This is an upgrade. Because what is happening is switching out of the mode of archiving, moving out of the verbal and factual register, which is the language of 3D, and into the energetic and emotional register, which is the language of higher frequency. This exchange, though confusing at first, is one of the most powerful gifts that awakening brings. Think of a concrete situation. Someone treats you politely, says all the right words, acts impeccably, yet when you leave the meeting, an inexplicable weight lingers. You don't remember exactly what happened, but you feel that something was off. This is energetic memory at work. It perceives the frequency behind the form, and frequency never lies, even when words do. It is the opposite of moments when someone treats you rudely, but with genuine love, leaving you feeling cared for. The 5D mind prioritizes essence over detail, making you far harder to fool than you might assume. The practice is simple, but it requires trust. Trust what you felt, not just what was said. When details escape your memory, don't panic. Ask your body. Ask the lingering feeling. It is your most accurate record. People may forget your words, but they never forget how you made them feel. You too will remember in this way. It may seem less than conventional memory, but it is far more profound. There is also a seventh effect, one that challenges your understanding of knowledge itself. Have you ever woken up with clarity you didn't have the night before? Not a vague idea, but a fully structured piece of information, almost as if you had studied it while sleeping. Or in the middle of a conversation, a precise answer comes to you, astonishingly accurate, about something you thought you didn't know. You don't remember learning it anywhere, yet it is available, clear, and complete. In 5D consciousness, this phenomenon is known as downloading. It is one of the most fascinating and misunderstood effects of awakening. What changes is the source of information. In the traditional 3D model, memory is storage. You learn, store, and access information, like a hard drive with limits and possible failures. In the 5D model, memory becomes access. You connect to the field, to collective consciousness, to the Akashic records, and the information flows when it is needed, not before. It is like swapping a hard drive for Wi-Fi. You don't carry everything at all times. You just need connection at the right moment. Validation is simpler than expected. If a download arrives clearly, calmly, with a sense of recognition, as if you always knew but only now remember, it is legitimate. If it comes with confusion, agitation, or fear, that is the messy mind trying to fill gaps. The practice is to record these moments immediately, because they come fast and depart equally fast. Use a notebook, voice recording, or phone note right after waking. Over time, patterns emerge, recurring themes, information later proven accurate, and insights arriving exactly when needed. As you learn to trust this system, a vital question arises. How do you know when forgetfulness is spiritual and when it signals a medical issue? That line exists, and it is clearer than you might think. Many ask, what if it really is something medical? This is the healthiest question. Spirituality and responsibility for health are not opposites. They complement each other. No one should use awakening as an excuse to ignore the body. Be direct. There are clear medical signs requiring neurologist consultation. Rapid, progressive decline without good days, loss of basic skills, difficulty dressing, recognizing familiar faces, or completing daily tasks, constant mental confusion, tremors, slurred speech, motor loss, family history of dementia in older adults. If these are present, the path is medical, immediate, without hesitation. Spiritual symptoms, on the other hand, have a distinct texture. They begin with awakening, functionality is preserved, they are selective and intensify during energetic portals. The present feels more vivid, not less. Golden rule, when in doubt, rule out medical causes first. Physical health is the foundation. Without it, spiritual processes cannot be sustained. After medical clearance, you can view symptoms with awareness, clarity, and reduced fear. There is a massive difference between navigating a dimensional shift consciously and ignoring a real medical signal under the guise of spirituality. One does not exclude the other. Knowing how to distinguish the two is a profound act of wisdom. Practical wisdom also involves functioning effectively in daily life, while memory operates at a different frequency. Life does not pause for consciousness to reorganize. Responsibilities remain. The key is adaptation, not resistance. Smart adaptation begins with accepting external support as strategy, not weakness. Writing things down does not mean poor memory, it is wisdom. The basic survival kit for those in this process is simple yet powerful. Notebook or note-taking app always ready, alarms with detailed instructions, visual calendar of the week. Daily photos to capture experiences. Fixed routines, waking, eating, sleeping at consistent times, act as temporal anchors, helping the brain navigate linear time. These small adjustments dramatically improve daily life quality. 2 mindset shifts are crucial. First, stop blaming yourself for forgetfulness as if it reflects a character flaw. They are transitional symptoms. Harsh judgment increases resistance. Second, communicate with those close to you. You do not need to explain dimensional shifts. Simply say, "My memory is going through a different phase. Please remind me if I forget something important." Relationships remain intact through communication. You do not carry this alone. Finally, perspective transforms perceived loss into liberation. What seems like a defect may be a gift wrapped incorrectly. Traditional memory, filing experiences chronologically, carrying old hurts with unchanged intensity, reliving past mistakes, created identity. I am what I have lived. I am what I have suffered. I am the sum of my past. Now, step by step, this old identity is being released. A little of this weight is being released, not torn off, but loosened lightly. When you pause to really feel it, this is liberation. The most profound gain of this process is presence. You are not losing memory, you are gaining it. And the now, when truly lived, is the only place where life truly happens. The past becomes an archive, the future a projection, but the present is real, alive. It is where you actually exist. Those who have gone through this process report a shared experience, a lightness they cannot fully explain, a sense that they no longer have to carry so much. The world feels simpler to live in, not because problems disappear, but because the mental baggage that amplified everything becomes lighter. Information starts arriving exactly when needed. You always know what you need to know in the moment you need it. Powerful reframe. You are not getting dumb, you are getting present. This is not regression, it is release. You are not losing your mind. You are losing the illusion that you must carry 30 years of mental history to know who you are. Who you are exists now, independent of memory. When this truly happens, not as a concept, but as an experience, something changes permanently. Anxiety about forgetfulness fades. Fear of going crazy dissolves, replaced by quiet confidence. You always remember what really matters. There is a specific reason so few people talk about all of this. Understanding that reason will change how you perceive the silence around you. Consider someone whose memory began failing as awakening intensified. Conversations are forgotten. Threads of sentences are lost. Days vanish. Deep down, a whisper asks, "What if this is dementia? What if I'm truly losing my mind?" That voice does not disappear easily. And while this occurs, the person remains silent. No comments to friends, no posts, no questions. In a culture that prizes productivity, sharp memory, and mental clarity, admitting mental lapses exposes you to judgment. Silence becomes protection, and suffering becomes lonely. The danger of silence is the cruel illusion that you are alone. Believing this heightens fear, worsens interpretation, and closes the cycle. But it only takes one person to speak up, in a comment, a post, a conversation, for the phenomenon to reveal itself. It is almost automatic. When someone says, "Since awakening, my memory has been terrible and I was terrified," others respond with, "Me too," and suddenly the secret symptom ceases to be secret. Collective relief appears because no one was crazy. Everyone was experiencing a shared process. Silent shame is perhaps the most unnecessary obstacle in the ascension process. The antidote is simple: talk, share, ask. You are not alone, you never were. Each person who names what they experience opens the way for another to breathe a sigh of relief and understand that what they feel has a name, an explanation, and a path forward. This is one of the most common 5D symptoms, yet it remains least discussed, not due to rarity, but because fear of appearing crazy often outweighs the need for recognition. Recognition, however, closes the cycle completely, giving clarity and relief. Take a deep breath and let one thing settle. Your memory isn't breaking. It is being reprogrammed to function in a dimension where the past is an illusion, and the present is everything. Every moment of forgetfulness, every mental lapse, every lost thread in a sentence, none of its signals collapse. It is transition. And transition, by definition, is uncomfortable before it is liberating. You are not getting dumb, you are getting present. One diminishes, the other expands. The way forward is not to fight this process, but to dance with it. Write down everything that needs to be remembered. Create temporal anchors. Use alarms without shame. Photograph moments you wish to keep. When oblivion appears, and it will, laugh not out of neglect, but from lightness. Resisting is like trying to hold water in a closed hand. The tighter you squeeze, the less remains. 5D consciousness does not respond to force, it responds to surrender. Surrender does not mean giving up on functioning in the world. It means no longer treating your transformation as the enemy. Those who cross this process discover a fundamental truth. You always remember what truly matters. The names of those you love, what makes your heart race, the purpose that drives you, the feeling of being in the right place, they never vanish. What disappears is the unnecessary weight, the habitual baggage, the memories that have fulfilled their role. Your memory isn't abandoning you, it is relieving you. When you see it this way, fear transforms into curiosity. Resistance transforms into trust. You move forward lighter, more present, more yourself than ever. Take a moment and ask honestly, how many times have you mistaken your transformation for a defect? How many times labeled expansion as weakness? How often have you felt shame for what should have been celebrated? Everything shared here is not theory, it is a map, and a map is only useful to those willing to walk it. The real question is not whether you are going through this. The question is, now that you know, what will you do? Knowledge without action is mere entertainment. Start today, not tomorrow. Not when you feel ready, not when memory improves. Today, take a notebook, create a note on your phone, set an alarm with details, capture a photo of your day. Build external support while internal memory reorganizes. Stop blaming yourself for forgetfulness. Laugh lightly instead. Explain to loved ones what is happening. Most importantly, stop treating transformation as a problem and start treating it as a process to navigate. There is a profound difference, and recognizing it changes every day's quality. Finally, a question for reflection and the comments. Which of these 7 effects resonated most with you? Which did you experience without understanding what it was? Your answer may be exactly what someone else needed to read to feel less alone. Sharing, speaking, naming, this is part of healing. If this content has brought clarity, relief, or peace, know that there is far more to come. Subscribe and activate the bell because this is only the beginning. The next videos will explore these insights even deeper. You didn't reach the end of this video by chance, and the next ones will not be by accident either.